Hi, good evening, Juan. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. You?
I'm okay, thank you. How was your day today? Did you work today?
Yes, I have a lot of work.
Hmm. Okay, yeah. So let's revise the adjectives and we will see one grammatical topic. We saw adjectives for feelings: angry, calm, exhausted, in love, jealous, nervous, proud, silly, sleepy, terrified, upset, worried. And we saw one more rule: when some adjectives they have ed ending and some of them in. So ed we use to describe feelings of a person. It's like how is the person, for example, the person is interested, bored, um, terrified, maybe exhausted. And in we use to describe the cause of those feelings. So why? I mean, why are you interested? Because of the interesting, because of an interesting book. So in their objects, ed person and in object. For example, an interesting book, a boring movie. Um, here we have exciting, for example, an exciting trip, and so on. So here we have two examples. She's excited about her upcoming trip to Spain. We use excited with ed because she is a person, but the trip is exciting. So here we use in because the trip it's an object. So this one. And today we see narrative tenses. So tenses, grammatical tenses like present simple, past simple, present continuous. And some of them we use to narrate a story, to tell a story. And there are some tenses that we can use to tell something. We can't use all the tenses. It's not typical, just some of them. And here we will see three tenses to narrate: past simple, past continuous, and past perfect. So past simple, we use the past simple for states and actions in the past. We often specify the time when they happened. I left university in 2015. He didn't know the way to Sam's house. How did you meet Harry? So how do we form past simple? It's usually like the verb in the second form. Well, the verb in the second form, we can make like, usually it's making like this. The verb in the second form. So it can be the verb with ed, for example. Yeah, for example, cleaned. Yeah, yesterday I cleaned my room. So, for example, cleaned with ed. Or it's if it's irregular verb, we take it from the table of irregular verbs. It can be, for example, went, or came, or taught, or read, or something. So let's put went. So we tell about something that happened and we use the verb with ed or the verb, the second form of the table. For example, I tell about today and I can say, today I worked, today I had 2 lessons. This is the third one. Today I ate quesadillas. For example, today I read a book. Today I went to the center. Today I played with my cats. Today I talked to my mother. Today I saw a movie. So, yeah, this one. Hi, Fabian. How are you today?
Hi, teacher. Fine, fine. And you?
I'm okay, thank you. So we were talking about adjectives for feelings. These ones: angry, calm, exhausted, in love, jealous, nervous, proud, silly, sleepy, terrified, upset, and worried. And we saw that we use ed ending for the adjectives if it's a person. For example, she is excited, she is interested, she is bored. And we use in if it's an object. A book is interesting, a movie is boring, a trip is exciting. And we started to speak about narrative tenses, so grammatical tenses that we can use for tell a story. So the first tense, the first grammatical tense is past simple. We form past simple with the verb in the second form. That means that we use ed at the end. I cleaned my room today. I talked to my mom today. I played with my cats today. Or the verb in the second form, if it's a regular verb. I went home. I had 2 classes. I ate dinner. Well, it's a bad example. I know. I ate pizza. I drank uh, 2 coffees. Mhm. So we use past simple. Next time grammatical tense that we can use is past continuous. We use the past continuous to give the background information for a story. We use the past simple to talk about the main events. So main events in past simple, for example, I had 2 classes today. It's a main event. And background in the past continuous. I was walking through the park. The birds were singing. Children were playing football. So in my story, I can say, today I had 2 lessons. I was working very calm. I was drinking coffee during the class. I was speaking English when suddenly, and then I continue telling what happened. Often the past continuous action is interrupted by another action in the past simple in the same sentence. I was reading a book when the phone rang. So past until one moment and something happened in this X place, something happened, the phone rang. Yeah. For example, I was working today when someone knocked the door. Yeah, that was a delivery guy. I received one package. Or for example, I was talking by phone when I got a message from my mom. She said, blah, blah, blah. I was speaking English when suddenly, um, for example, I know I remembered that it's not an English lesson, it's German lesson. I should speak German. I was listening to music when the internet crashed. We often use while, mientras, and as, es como, how we can say in Spanish, to talk about 2 actions which were happening at the same time. They were closing the cafe as we were finishing our coffee. It's the same like while, like kind of mientras, cuando, no? They were closing the cafe as we were finishing our coffee. Narrative tenses. And one more, it's past perfect. So we form, past continuous. How do we form it? Let's make a small, like, kind of help. So in past continuous, we need the verb to be in the past. So it will be was or it will be were. Was over plus was over plus the verb within. So it's the verb and the verb will have the ending in. So for example, I was cooking, no? I was cooking my lunch when my friend sent me a message. So I was, without I, it can be different. I mean, I was cooking, I just write. For example, I was cooking. Or it can be were, we were playing. And past perfect. So we form the past perfect with had plus past participle. It will be the third form. I had finished my work. They hadn't visited for a long time. Had you been there before? We use the past perfect to make it clear that an action happened earlier in the past before another action. We use the past perfect for the earlier past action. So first it happened past perfect and then past simple. I didn't have any money because I had lost my wallet. In this situation, like we know that first he had lost my wallet, and that's why, for that reason, he didn't have money. When it is already clear which past action came first, we can use the past simple for both actions. He had lived in Dublin for 5 years before he moved to Cork. He lived in Dublin for 5 years before he moved to Cork. It's possible to use past simple also. We often use the past perfect after thinking verbs like discover, find out, realize, remember, think, etc. When I got to work, I realized I'd left my laptop at home. And the formula for that, it will be, so the verb had, it's only one variant had for all pronouns. It's I had, you had, we had, they had, he had, she had. And the verb, and the verb in the third form. The third form, it can be ed ending. For example, cleaned. Yeah, so it will be all the same, had, cleaned. Or the verb from the table. If it's irregular verb, you know, it's the third column where you need to search it. So it will be, for example, had gone. No. Or the third form, had come, or had eaten, or had read, or had seen, or had been. Oh, here, had been. So this tense we use before to tell us that something happened before another action in the past. For example, let's imagine that I tell one story and I said, I had been I know, I had been at home that day. For example, but suddenly, de repente, yeah, but suddenly I decided to go out. Something like that. Maybe it's not the best example, but here we want to say that first I had been at home, no, And then suddenly something changed, one more action. So first action, I had been at home, and second action, I decided to go out. Okay, so we will make some exercises, and if you still have any questions, maybe it will be clearer to you. Let's start with the homework first. Adjectives. Here we needed to answer the questions. The first question: what's the most amazing book you have read? So for me, for example, the most amazing book that I have read is The Lord of the Rings. I really love this book, and my graduation paper, my diploma is based on that book. And what about you, Juan? What's the most amazing book you have read?
I have never read a complete book, but I want to read one in the future.
Hmm. Okay, very nice. And Fabian, you, what's the most amazing book you have read?
Mm, I have four books. The three the three first books is a trilogy. Is a insignia trilogy. Is science fiction,
Hmm?
and the last book is is uh, no recuerdo cómo se diría en inglés, pero es las llamas. No, I don't remember the name, but it's a book, the science fiction, but is to is of magic and magic and romance
Mm-hmm.
is different history is similar Harry Potter,
Okay.
but Elemental is a story very interesting and this trilogy, but actually I reading the books. The second book is the bueno en español Las Aguas Indóminas is the book actually read.
Okay, that's nice. Actually, it's like more ch sound.
Ah,
Actually, and
actual,
the same magic j sound. Magic.
magic.
Okay. Can you remember a time when you were really boring? I think I feel really. Oh no, here is not boring. Here is bored, no, because we describe a person. Uh-huh. So, can you remember a time when you were really bored? I was bored when usually I am bored when I need to wait, for example, in a bank, in one, yeah, waiting for my turn, or somewhere, maybe at the doctor's office. Juan, and you, can you remember a time when you were really bored?
Yes, the meeting at the work today uh, was very boring because the topics uh, were not about my work.
Mhm. What were they, the topics, for example?
Um, mm, como así como eh, las otras compañías, la competencia de la compañía, no sé
Mhm.
cómo decirlo, pero eran los services de competition company versus all services in the company.
Okay, yeah, I see. Fabian. And you? Can you remember a time when you were really bored?
Maybe I remember a really boring conference at my university. It was so go that I was falling asleep.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that happens. Number three, what's the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to you? I think maybe there are some situations when they are connected with some misunderstanding. For example, um, I don't know what can it be. I remember one situation when I was at home of my friend, and they were his parents there. I don't remember why he needed to go out, maybe to buy something, and I think his father answered the call, but I didn't see that he had the cell phone. I don't remember why. Maybe he was like mm, standing back to me. I thought that he was speaking to me, and he answered by phone, and he say, "Oh, it's so nice to hear. Just like so nice mm, to know from you again. How have you been, or something like that." And I started to answer. I started to say, "No, but I'm okay," and so on. And then I realized that he was talking by phone, not to me. So that was kind of embarrassing. And some other situations, maybe they were connected with the language when you don't speak too well the language, so sometimes you answer something silly. Hmm. And you guys, Juan, what's the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to you?
Yes, the most recent moment, uh, I was running uh, 10 kilometers,
Mhm.
and my shoes broke in the middle of the race, and I could run anymore. And the problem mm, was the every people look at me.
Okay, so you finished the race or you were continuing?
No, no. Es que no sé cómo decir que se rompió la suela del zapato.
Uh-huh. But you stopped or you were continuing?
No, stop. Stop.
Mm.
Because I call no running.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. I think they resisted too much time before. And you, Fabian, what's the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to you?
Um, one of the most embarrassing moment is was when I started falling asleep in class and suddenly woke up
Mm-hmm.
because no sé cómo se pronuncia, que es como roncar, que es
Uh-huh.
según yo es
You,
snore,
yeah, you were snoring. Uh-huh.
snoring.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I see. Number four, what sort of things do you find annoying and why? It is annoying for me when people listen to music very loud. For example, here in the neighbor house, they have some kind of construction. They are, oh, I know, they just renovating something at the house. I'm not sure if they are living there right now, but they have some workers, and someone stays for the night usually. And at night they put radio on, but very loud. And for example, yesterday I couldn't sleep at all, and also it's very hot, and I can't open the window because of the music, and I needed to put some kind of calming sounds on my cell phone in one application, like sounds of nature, like I was listening raining and so on. Then I could fall asleep. But yeah, music, loud music is very annoying for me. Or sometimes when people speak too loud, maybe somewhere in a public place, it's annoying for me. Such things, I think. Juan, and for you, what is it annoying for you?
I don't know. For example, in the work, uh, I don't like the people who are not proactive because I feel that the work is not complete and complete efficiently.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I can understand that also. Fabian, and for you?
Mm, maybe high pitched sounds annoying because they easily have me a head, no recuerdo cómo se pronuncia dolor de cabeza, hatchet,
Mm-hmm.
ah,
Okay. What is that in Spanish?
dolor de cabeza, o como un dolor de
Ah,
cabeza,
okay,
o
headache. Uh-huh.
head,
It's
head,
like
head.
kind of an exception. I read like he- headache. Hmm.
Ah,
Okay. Yeah, it's annoying. Sometimes even any pills, I mean, they don't help. Uh-huh. Number 5, have you ever been surprised on your birthday? I think only in a negative way. I don't know. It wasn't never like, oh, a surprise party or something like that. But sometimes I think I was expecting too much and I was like more disappointed on my birthday because we wanted to go out and have lunch with my friends, but they were busy and I was just waiting all the day for them. So it was like that, like a bad surprise. And I think my last birthday was terrible, really, because it was also one kind of trip that it was a surprise for me. But in reality, it could be much better if I could know about where we go, because I believe I could prepare better. And at the end, we were lost and we arrived to the destination at night already, and it was rented already, so we just spent I don't know, the night there, and we didn't enjoy too much, seeing around, going out and so on. So it was also like kind of disappointing for me. I was disappointed. And you, Juan, have you ever been surprised on your birthday?
Mm, yes, I remember my 28th birthday. I was not accepting anyone, but my mom come to my house with a cake and the dinner with my brothers.
That's nice. It's a nice surprise. And you, Fabian, have you ever been surprised on your birthday?
yes, I have been surprised on my birthday, but not with a party, but with a special gift. I the special gift is eh, no sé cómo se pronunciaría, que es como un bote térmico, una botella térmica, vaya.
Yeah, so it's a thermo, one thermo.
Ah, thermo, one thermo the of Harry Potter is the map. Eh, ese sí no sé cómo sea, merodeador, mapa del merodeador, map.
Yeah, I understand, but I don't remember in English. How was it? Um, okay. Yeah, so it was a thermo that you liked too much. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And let's investigate. And the last one. No, there are three more. When did you feel really excited about something? I think usually I feel excited about different trips if we are going to somewhere. I think it's the same in English. It's a Marauders, yeah, Marauders map.
Ah, it's
Okay.
thermometer maps.
Mm-hmm. That's nice. Yeah. So usually I feel excited about some trips. For example, like 2 weeks ago, we wanted to go out with my friends to one city that is very near from here. It's like a magic town, and I was excited, but finally we didn't go as usual. And you, Juan, when did you feel really excited about something?
Uh, 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 I feel excited because I am better in my running training, and I feel very excited about my trip to Texas in May.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's nice. Fabian, and you, when do you feel really, or did you feel really excited?
I feel really excited winning a basketball tournament. With we made into the semifinals at my university. I
Mm-hmm.
can't call to the talk the next day.
That's nice. Sounds, yeah, exciting. Have you ever been very frightened by something? What was it? I think by earthquake that it happened, I don't know, how many years ago. I even don't know. Like 8 years ago, because before I have never experienced any earthquake, so it was frightened for me. Sometimes I feel frightened when people fight and some people they start to, they can like drop the things or hit the things, hit the walls, and that makes me very frightened. Any kind of such situations. Juan, and you?
Mm, I remember after running my half marathon in February, my knee hurt a lot, and the next day I don't move. Uh, I throw was something serious, mm, but mm, but I was just a muscle lesion. No sé
Mhm.
cómo se dice en inglés, una sobrecarga muscular.
Okay. Yeah, like I know how to say it. It's extra charge. I don't know. Translate. But at the end, everything was okay.
Yes, it's okay. Uh, mm, mm, uh, I go to therapy by physiotherapy for the one month.
Okay, so it helped you. hmm Yeah, it's a muscle overload. Yeah, overload. So okay. Okay, it's nice that everything is okay now. Fabian, and you, when you were really frightened?
Um, I have not be extremely frightened, but I do get scared of complete darkness. I don't like no being really to see anything.
hmm Okay, yeah. And eight, can you think of a time when you were disappointed? Ah, but I told about my birthday, so yeah, I was disappointed. When else, sometimes I'm disappointed with the people, and it really hurts when they are kind of close friends or something. Because you just you know sometimes the things like they gossip about you, or they say one thing and they do other things, and yeah, I think usually, I mean, not usually, sometimes it happens that I feel disappointed with people. And you, Juan?
Yes, I was disappointed when I don't complete my goal of the running, the half marathon in under 2 hours in Ferrero.
Because of the shoes,
¿Cómo, perdón?
because of the shoes, shoes that they
No,
were
no,
broken.
this
No.
is other race.
Mm, okay. Yeah, Fabian, and you, when you were disappointed?
Mm, when I submit a project that is didn't turn out the way I already planned, it's a final project in my career. Is is it has no sé si tenga traducción la caña de azúcar.
Okay, let's see it.
Uh, que is a project experiment caña de azúcar.
So it says sugar cane. Yeah, sugar
Sugar
cane.
is a sugar cane, but finally is totally different planet. But um, in my class or my qualification is a probability for my class.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting topic. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the homework. The next page, page 21, here we have listening. So we will listen to a story about two friends, Beth and Jane, and they are traveling to India. Look at the pictures from A to F. Where are the pictures? Ah, here. Okay, A, B, C, D, E, and F. Hmm? Look at the pictures showing 6 events from their journey. What do you think happened to them? So first we just give our ideas, no, give our suppositions, and then we are going to listen and check. So what do you think happened to in this travel to India? So the train was full. This, yes. What else?
Mm, mm, say
What could happen on the picture C? Why is she on the road? Do you think she jumped out of the train, or someone pushed her from the train, or what happened?
I, I think maybe she uh, has an accident.
She had an accident, no? She fell down from the train,
Mhm.
and well, if they were in the train, I think it's the same girl here. And after, um, she was like hurt, and someone helped her, brought her water or something. maybe. Mhm. And the letter D, B, what is it here? Ah, here she had her leg. No, do you see?
Mhm.
She had a kind of bent it. So maybe after they helped her, they met again, the friends. They met one more guy. And what else? And letter B, what is it here?
Mm, I think um, before the art trip.
Ah, it was before the trip. I think it's during the trip because you can see the boat behind. So it's like kind of mm, it's this gang, no, the river in India, maybe, or somewhere there. So let's listen and we will check what happened and we will number the events from the story. So letter B is one. Letter B is one, and then we listen what is number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
Mm.
Audio 2.01.
I had a very memorable trip to India 30 years ago. I was travelling there with Jane, an Australian friend, for 2 months. We spent the first week staying by a lake in the mountains, which was very beautiful and relaxing. From there, we planned to travel by train to Varanasi and visit Nepal before returning to India and spending a couple of weeks exploring Rajasthan. We knew the journey to Varanasi would be long and tiring, but we had no idea that it would change everything. The train journey usually takes 24 hours. We had booked a standard ticket, and the train was very busy. It was hot and crowded. People were everywhere. They were sleeping on the floor, crowded into all the seats, and even sitting on the roof. We tried to sleep, but it was difficult. By early morning, the family, who were sitting next to us, got off the train, and my friend and I moved into some seats next to an open window. We were exhausted, our clothes were dirty, and we were thirsty and hungry. It was already very hot, and there was no air conditioning. Anyway, Jane said she didn't feel well and needed to go to the toilet. I decided to stay with the backpacks so we didn't lose our seats by the window. I waited and waited, but Jane didn't come back. I was beginning to get really worried. Suddenly, the train stopped in the middle of nowhere. The next thing I knew, I was taken off the train to meet a group of officials who told me my friend had fallen off the train 10 kilometres further back, and she was going to be taken by another train to Bareilly station, where I would meet her. I was terrified. I got on the train and travelled another hour to Bareilly station. I thought I would never see Jane again. Jane remembers that she woke up on the railway track. She had fallen off the train. She was standing near the open door of the train to get some fresh air when she fell out. A railway worker found her and carried her to lie under a tree, out of the sun. She obviously needed to drink some water, so he set off on his bicycle and returned carrying a kettle of boiled water and gave her some to drink. Luckily, she still had her passport in her money belt, as she was terrified she would be lost forever. When I met her a few hours later at Bareilly station, her knee was in a bandage, her clothes were torn, and she had no shoes. We went straight to the hospital, where a doctor treated her. We changed all our travel plans and spent the next 10 days resting, as Jane couldn't walk properly. She had injured her knee. In the end, we arrived in Rajasthan much later than our original plans because of Jane's accident. In Jaipur, we stayed in a beautiful old hotel called the Bissau Palace. We met another traveller there who had just been looking at elephants. I married him 2 years later, and Jane came over from Melbourne for the wedding and was the guest of honour.
Okay, so what was number 2?
Mm, I think I or F. I don't know.
I think F. And yeah, they spent 2 weeks at the lake first, and then they decided to travel by train to some other places. Yeah, the train was crowded, the people were everywhere. Number 3.
Mm, 8. Like
Which one? P or A?
E.
E, no?
Mhm.
Because after they couldn't sleep, and her friend, I think Jane, she wanted to go to the toilet. So this girl started to wait for her, but she never returned. No, she was very worried. And after number 4,
Mm, I don't know.
Okay, let's listen again.
Audio 2.01.
I had a very memorable trip to India 30 years ago. I was travelling there with Jane, an Australian friend, for 2 months. We spent the first week staying by a lake in the mountains, which was very beautiful and relaxing. From there, we planned to travel by train to Varanasi and visit Nepal before returning to India and spending a couple of weeks exploring Rajasthan. We knew the journey to Varanasi would be long and tiring, but we had no idea that it would change everything. The train journey usually takes 24 hours. We had booked a standard ticket, and the train was very busy. It was hot and crowded. People were everywhere. They were sleeping on the floor, crowded into all the seats, and even sitting on the roof. We tried to sleep, but it was difficult. By early morning, the family, who were sitting next to us, got off the train, and my friend and I moved into some seats next to an open window. We were exhausted, our clothes were dirty, and we were thirsty and hungry. It was already very hot, and there was no air conditioning. Anyway, Jane said she didn't feel well and needed to go to the toilet. I decided to stay with the backpacks so we didn't lose our seats by the window. I waited and waited, but Jane didn't come back. I was beginning to get really worried. Suddenly, the train stopped in the middle of nowhere. The next thing I knew, I was taken off the train to meet a group of officials who told me my friend had fallen off the train 10 kilometres further back, and she was going to be taken by another train to Bareilly station, where I would meet her. I was terrified. I got on the train and travelled another hour to Bareilly station. I thought I would never see Jane again. Jane remembers that she woke up on the railway track. She had fallen off the train. She was standing near the open door of the train to get some fresh air when she fell out. A railway worker found her and carried her to lie under a tree, out of the sun. She obviously needed to drink some water, so he set off on his bicycle and returned carrying a kettle of boiled water and gave her some to drink. Luckily, she still had her passport in her money belt, as she was terrified she would be lost forever. When I met her a few hours later at Borelli Station, her knee was in a bandage, her clothes were torn, and she had no shoes. We went straight to the hospital, where a doctor treated her. We changed all our travel plans and spent the next 10 days resting, as Jane couldn't walk properly. She had injured her knee. In the end, we arrived in Rajasthan much later than our original plans because of Jane's accident. In Jaipur, we stayed in a beautiful old hotel called the Bissau Palace. We met another traveller there who had just been looking at elephants. I married him 2 years later, and Jane came over from Melbourne for the wedding and was the guest of honour.
Okay, so yeah, they were on the lake, number 1. They decided to travel, number 2, by train. Her friend went to the toilet. She never returned. It was 3. After, what happened?
See?
See, it turns out that she fell out of the train. She wanted to go to the open door to breathe with the fresh air, and she fell down. Number 5.
Eight.
A. The worker on the station, yeah, he found her, helped her. Then she spent in the hospital the time, and letter D. They stay in one hotel and they met one more traveler. And after she married him and her friend Jane from Australia, she was a guest of honor, so she came from Australia to their wedding. Okay, so I will send you an audio that you can listen more times, and you will answer the questions, letter D. How did Beth and Jane feel when they were by the lake? What did they think the journey to Varanasi would be like? Were they correct? How did they feel on the train? Why was Beth worried? What happened to Jane? Who helped Jane and how did he help her? And would you like to go on a long train journey? Why? Why not? When was the last time you made a long journey? And was the journey easy or difficult? So that will be the homework. We never arrived to narrative tenses, but okay, for the next time. So that's it for today. We see each other on Tuesday. Thank you. Have a nice weekend. Bye. Goodbye.
Teacher.